These are your strikeout props. I did look at Nick Martinez as well for his under 3.5 Ks. I wasn't sold on it though. So why were you sold?
So, I mean, it's a Padres thing. I mean, it's just, I have faith in the Padres. Now, the Padres have started to strike out a little bit more, especially against righties. I mean, Seth Lugo had 7, Yamamoto had 5, Sheehan had 6 in his first start of the year. So, like, they are starting to strike out a little bit more, but Nick Martinez has made 2 straight bullpen appearances. He's thrown 2 innings in 1 inning. His last start came on the 19th, so that's 8 days ago. On the one hand, you could say, well, how long is he going to go? On the other hand, you'll say he's really fresh. Maybe he can go longer, but this is just kind of I have faith in the Padres thing more so than anything else. If it wasn't the Padres, I probably wouldn't take the under, but we know how good they are contact wise, and everybody outside of maybe Martin Maldonado should do well for me tonight.
Martinez went under in 4 of 7 starts against low K rate teams against righties. So at least a little bit more to the under on Martinez. I just was a little bit nervous about the Padres, but you're right. Martinez doesn't necessarily stay in games long enough. Landen Roupp, also, you like his over 4.5 Ks. The White Sox, they average 4.8 strikeouts a game, more unders than overs against righties. So why is Roupp going over?
So this is one of those situations also where you look at the numbers have skewed heavily to the under, but they're still averaging 4.8 strikeouts per game against right-handed starting pitchers. And if you look at the recency, Ryan Nelson had 7. Like, that's a lot for Ryan Nelson. Bassett had 7. Michael McGreevy, I think it's Matt McGreevy or Mike McGreevy. He had 5 in 5 innings. So, like, you kind of look at the recency factor here for the White Sox. I mean, Kumar Rocker had 6. He's getting better, but like Ryan Gusto had 7. Lorenzen had 7. So it's one of those things where you look at Landen Roupp and what he's done so far this season. He's been better with regards to strikeouts. Just came off having 7 against the Red Sox. On the road, he had 7 in Detroit. He also played a lot of pitched against a lot of high contact teams. He had 3 in Minnesota. Of course, he's not going to get a lot in Minnesota. He had 4 in Chicago. Of course, he's not going to get a lot in Chicago. He had 4 in San Diego. So, like, those are 3 teams right there that don't strike out a lot. So, of course, the numbers make it look worse than they are. But the White Sox are striking out a lot lately. So I took a chance with Landen.
Speaking of Chicago, you like an over against them, plus 130. The Cubbies, they did start the year as a low K rate team. They still pretty much are against righties, but lefty-righty splits, we always talk about them, and Brandon Walter's a lefty. How can he take advantage of the Cubs today?
So Brandon Walter is interesting because he's had 4 high strikeout starts, but he's also faced the Angels, Twins, Guardians, and Rays, all who are not good against left-handed starting pitchers. You could kind of throw the Cubs in there a little bit. If you look, 4.65 strikeouts per game against left-handed starting pitchers so far this season. And if you look at the recency factor, Liberatore, 5. Heaney never gets strikeouts. He is a low strikeout guy for the most part. He had 7 in Wrigley Field. You look at Gore had 7. Abbott had 8. Our guy Lodolo had 5 and 6. This is a Cubs team that have struggled a little bit more against left-handed starting pitchers. And so as I kind of note on like my Twitter account, like this is a price play. I mean, I'm getting a guy who gets a lot of strikeouts at plus 130 against a team that has shown it can strike out a lot against lefties. It's probably not going to win, but at plus 130, I have to take a shot at it. If it was minus 110, minus 115, I'm probably not playing it, but at plus 130, I think it's worth a sprinkle tonight.
While we're on the strikeout prop conversation, I'll run a few by you because we haven't spoken about them yet today. And you gave me the ugh when I told you. People who are tuning in now, I'll just tell them to you and then I'll rehash this again later on. I like Jose Quintana tonight, Matt. He's got a 4.5, 14 straight lefties. 14 straight lefties have gone over 4.5 Ks against the Rockies. I've got to ride this trend. Kershaw hit it yesterday, and he hasn't had 5 strikeouts or more in Colorado since 2020. This game's at home, too, in Milwaukee, by the way.
So Quintana just had 1 against Minnesota, and Minnesota basically swings at pitches before you even throw them against lefties. They average almost 6 strikeouts per game against lefties. He had 4 against St. Louis, 4 against San Diego, 3 against Philadelphia, and 3 against the Rays. The Rays,
6
another
against St. Louis also in the other start.
You're right. That is correct. In St. Louis.
And 6 against the Cubs.
Right, which is another reason why we like Brandon Walters over today. I can't trust Quintana. I think he's more of an outs guy in terms of his outs over, but even so, like he started out eating innings and now he's just not doing it as much. A couple of 5 inning starts recently, a 4 1/3 inning start. So like, I don't know. It's more one of those things like I have to see it from Quintana before I actually take it. I get your
No,
reasoning,
you just have to
obviously.
get Quintana on the right day. Even if you see it, it might not happen again tomorrow. But like, obviously not tomorrow, but you know what I mean. If you see it today, it might not happen his next start. You just got to get him at the right time.
Right. He is all over the place. Like I'm looking at last year, there's starts where he had a lot and there's starts where he had very little. And so like you'll know early, like if that first inning, there's a strikeout or two, you're in good shape. If that first inning, there's a lot of contact or if he gets in trouble a little bit and, starts racking up the pitch count, then you might be in trouble. I like Quintana more usually for the outs. And even that he's not doing lately.
If anyone's watching with the chat, this is the time to chime in and ask questions about Major League Baseball props because Matt touches on way more markets than I do. I just really focus on strikeouts, but Matt does any kind of pitcher prop. So definitely ask questions. M. Rojas asking Freeland over 3.5 Ks. What do you think?
Freeland off an injury. He is, and that for that, that's a non-starter for usually for you and I. If you go off of the numbers by themselves, Milwaukee strikes out a lot against lefties, 5.52 strikeouts per game against lefties. But, Heaney just had 3. Chris Sale had 11. Abbott had 6. So, like, they're kind of all over the place. But, yeah, anytime you got a guy off of IL, I assume he's going to go 5 innings. Probably will go 5 innings. But I just never like playing an over with a guy coming off the IL.
I have another play, but an under. Jose Soriano, under 5.5 Ks. He went under in 3 of 5 against low K rate lineups. He's getting the Nats. 9 of the last 10 righties went under 5.5 Ks against Washington. How come you don't like him?
Well, first off, I lost with Pivetta the last time out. And so for the most part, I do not go back to the well 2 times in a row. So that was the first thing. Second thing, it almost just seems like somewhat the same matchup. I mean, Pivetta is a high strikeout guy who was having some lower efforts against the higher contact lineups. Soriano just had 10 against Houston and 12 against the Athletics at home. And then sandwich that in between 6 in New York against your Yankees. So like, I see it. I get it. It's a long road trip, though. And so, like, I'm kind of scared when it comes to the Nats. They're on the West Coast. They had 5 against May. They had 5 against Kolek, who's not really a strikeout guy. So I wouldn't want to see Alex Call in the lineup. I wouldn't want to see, James Wood struck out a couple times, I think, yesterday. He's a guy who's been strikeout prone lately as well. But I can't do it. Soriano's in a hot stretch right now when it comes to Ks. And so, like, you kind of notice when he does well in that situation, he keeps going for a couple starts.
Last strikeout prop for me, and then we'll get to your other props. Yankees righty, Will Warren, over 6.5 Ks. I saw minus 120 range earlier today. Warren's having a sneakily good year. He's gone over this in 3 of 4 against high K rate teams, including his best start of the season, 7 Ks, 7 1/3 against the Athletics. The A's, 4 of the last 6 have gone over 6.5, Matt. That is a high number for 4 of the last 6 pitchers to go over.
Yeah, that is a high number. I don't have a great feel for Warren so far this season. I'm still mad that he pitched so badly against the Dodgers back in last month. He's a guy who should go over. He's got nasty stuff. Warren did have 7 strikeouts against the Athletics back on May 9th. So that's something to kind of consider here. Who knows how long he's going to last. He's gone 6 innings the last couple starts, so that kind of works.
And they were off yesterday, so the Yanks do have arms available.
Right, so that's a good thing because we know that occasionally your manager loves taking guys out too early at times, especially the younger guys. Just ask Clark Schmidt. I'm sure he can tell you several times.
That's a sore subject, and I'm sure he's fine with it because he needed an extra day's rest, but I was not fine with it at the no-hitter. That didn't happen.
Right. Well, listen, that's just what Aaron Boone does. You got to keep.
I knew he was only going to probably go 8, but at least we had a better chance of the no-hitter if we only needed a reliever for 1 inning.
Okay, but like if you're worried about a no-hitter, like the Yankees have larger.
I was only worried because I wanted to be at one. I didn't care if I was watching it on TV. No-hitters are not cool anymore, but like to be at one's cool.
Well, wait, so it's not cool to watch on TV, but it's cool to be there?
Yeah. Did
you have a ticket stub or was it like an automated thing? Like, are you just...
There's no more ticket stubs.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, like, if you had a ticket stub that
It's for
showed you
my
were there.
own. It's for a ticket stub for a no-hitter is not making you money.
Okay. Well, neither is you
It's
being
not
there.
about the money always, Matt. It's
I didn't
about
say
the
it was about the money. I
experience.
mean, you could sell the program with the ticket stub, but that's another thing. Like, okay, all right, so you're bitter about the no-hitter. That's fine. But like, I
I
haven't
just
I haven't
would
had
have
a good
liked to
feel
have
with Will
seen it. It
Warren.
would have been cool.
Okay. Well,
Are you
I'm
leaving a game if there's a no-hitter?
no, I don't leave games anyway.
But I'm saying, the game was out of hand. It was 9-0 Yankees. I just wasn't going to leave if there was a no-hitter.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't leave anyway. I mean, baseball games are 9 innings, and people pay enough money for these baseball games that they should stay all 9 innings.
I used to agree with that. I agreed with that, and my grandpa, may he rest in peace, Papa Marty knows that when that man made me leave a Yankees game in the 9th inning with the Yankees down 4 runs, and I'm pretty sure they were being shut out. I think they were down 3. I think it was 3-0, whoever they were playing. I forget. Old Stadium. Jason Giambi hits a walk-off grand slam as we're trying to get out of the parking lot. And I told my grandpa in that moment, we will never, ever, ever leave a Yankees game early again. And we really never did, because if I ever let him leave early, he would have given me so much crap, because he'd be like, oh, you're a jaded person now because you work in sports. But now that he passed away and it was 9-0 Yankees, yes, last time, like that game, I was like, meh, I'll go home.
No, see, I get it. My dad and I left early from an Orioles-Phillies game in Baltimore because it was a long trip home, and the Phillies came back and won. So, like, that was disappointing. But we also were not in the same city, so we had a long way to go home. And he was driving, so obviously I couldn't say anything because I couldn't drive at the time.
And I was pissed off at Aaron Boone because he pulled Clark Schmidt. And Gary Sanchez ruined the no-hitter out of all freaking people.
One of your favorites. All-time Yankee
still can't
great.
run out of the box. Still doesn't do it.
He's a catcher. Most catchers can't run.
Let's get to your other props. Cade Horton over 15.5 outs. Why is he staying in the game?
I mean, it's the Astros. I mean, the Astros are one of these teams that you're going to get your 5+ innings from. And, Cade Horton this year has shown a couple of times. Now, look, there's not a lot of data points, but he threw 5 2/3 against the Pirates. He threw 5 1/3 in Washington against the Nationals. This is an Astros lineup that, remember, I think a lot of people are focused on the fact the Phillies scored 1 run in Houston, but Houston only scored 5 runs like in that whole series. So it's not like this is a hot offense right now. So whenever I get a chance to take an outs over with a guy who can prove that he can go long, the Astros opponents are averaging 5.45 innings pitched against Houston. That's one of the highest numbers in the league right now. So the Astros don't take a lot of pitches. They just go after everything, it feels like. So I'm going to take a shot. Once again, even money plus price. I'm going to take a shot on Cade Horton's over.
I was absolutely shocked that you were taking a Dustin May prop. You don't like Dustin May. I
don't like Dustin May. I don't think I don't hate Dusty May. I don't. I might if he loses tonight, but like, this Royals offense is horrendous. Like, they didn't score a run against starting pitching last series against the Rays. If you go back pretty far against right-handed starting pitchers, like they score a lot of 1-run games, 2-run games. Dustin May is terrible, and I actually wrote that up in my write-up on my Twitter account. Like, I'm like, I don't like Dustin May, but this is a Royals lineup that's ice cold, plus weather could be a little bit of an issue mid-game. Maybe that gets him out a little bit early, and then I don't have to worry as much. So, yeah, I get it. I don't like Dustin May, but this is just a situational play against an ice cold offense right now.
I'm curious how this series is going to play out, because if the Royals get rocked by the Dodgers, that's going to be massively concerning to me. But if the Royals can keep pace, then I'll at least think that the Royals are like not necessarily on life support. But huge, huge disappointment this year, aside for the Orioles, is the Kansas City Royals, which, Matt, everyone and their mother was on it, any kind of Royals preseason future. And you kind of just knew between them and the Red Sox, it was too much hype.
Yeah, I mean, and for good reason. You look at that rotation, it's pretty good. I wonder, and I start seeing some talk from like some of the baseball people who cover the sport, that they might trade Kris Bubic if they can get some young hitters or some young players. I don't want
him. But not that the Yankees need a lefty, but no.
He's not terrible. I think he would be good, but the problem is what you're going to have to pay to get him. You're going to have to pay something decent to get him because he's so young. Well, he's 6-5. He's a 2.18 ERA. How is he? I know
he's finally having a good year. I never trusted him before this year.
Okay, but he's also 27 years old. You give him some room to learn and improve.
First impressions last.
It's true. We only look at a person or only look at a player and the
When
very
I'm
first
betting
thing
your
we
team
see.
total over on the road for a full season, making good money off of it, I don't think it's easy for me to trust you.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I'm just saying he's 6-5. He's got a 1.13 whip this season. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. I think there's a lot of teams that would take him. It's just what's the price? Are you going to have to give up
Exactly.
2 prospects that you probably? It also depends on like where you are. If you're a contending team, he'll probably be a Dodger. Let's be honest. The Dodgers trade for everybody, so he'll probably be a Dodger.
Well, if he's a Dodger, then he'll probably do well. So that's the one place
And
I
then he'll
wouldn't
get hurt.
mind. That or Houston. Speaking of the Dodgers, Matt, tomorrow, Shohei Ohtani is back on the mound against these struggling Royals. What do you think in the K prop's going to be?
So I'm going to guess they're going to let him go 3. So I'm going to guess his number is going to be 3.5 juice to the under.
Would you take it?
No. No, the one thing the Royals have done, well, for the most part, outside of yesterday where they had 9 strikeouts against Boz, they've been pretty good contact-wise. They're sub-4 against right-handed starting pitchers. No, I don't think I would. I think you'd have to give me a 2.5, and I'd consider the over, but at 3.5, I'd probably look at the under, although it's going to be heavily juiced to the under. That's just my guess.
Anything on tomorrow's slate stand out to you?
I mean, obviously, it's going to be interesting to see what the Phillies do. I mean, it's just that the offense is terrible. And when the Phillies offense is terrible, it's usually terrible for a decent stretch. So when we see, and I'm looking to see here, Schwellenbach tomorrow. Schwellenbach's had some good numbers against the Phillies for his career. I'm going to guess that his number is going to be a little bit higher, although he's had some starts where he's not striking out as many people. And that's sad because I have his season total over on his strikeouts, like a 143.5, I think it was. I forget what book I got that at. So I need him to start striking out more people. But the Phillies offense is ice cold right now. And when they're ice cold, they struggle as a whole. By the way, the new guy to kind of look at and their pitches under, and I haven't seen this yet, but I heard the stat on sports radio today. Nick Castellanos has swung at the first pitch in 24 of his last 31 at bats. Now, that's not to say that he's put it in play all of those times, but maybe he's the next guy that we look at the pitches under, especially if it's 3.5.
For anyone that doesn't know what you're talking about, in case they missed it, just explain this little trend that you've started to spot.
So it's gone cold since it started. I mean, it started out really hot. It was like 12-3, 11-3, the first 3 games I started tracking it. But Alec Boehm is in the top 15 for the fewest pitches seen in an at-bat. And for the longest time, DraftKings puts up 3.5 pitches for his at bat. You can bet the over or the under. FanDuel has it too, but I do it on DraftKings. And he is a guy who doesn't look at a lot of pitches. And so I've been hitting it. It gets hot and cold. There's certain pitchers that he, waits around on. If you've got wild guys, you probably don't want to take the under, but Alec Boehm under 3.5 pitches for a decent stretch was a good wager. Now it might be Nick Castellanos' under, whatever that might be.
Ooh, okay. Well, look, and tonight I know he does have a pretty good matchup. I saw that he's got 3 home runs against Bryce Elder through 6 at-bats in his career. So maybe he'll be jumping at the bit to try to get a homer off of him tonight. Mid-Major Matt, thank you so much, as always, for joining the show. I will see you next week.
Yes, sounds good.
Great. Have a good weekend.
See ya.